Hey Dollhouse people, Whitney LaBrie here, and this week I'm doing a movies and miniatures episode. I'm building a room box based on one of my favorite scary movies, The Shining, and I found these two little twins to help me out. Alright, so The Shining is based on a Stephen King novel, also called The Shining. The book was released in 1977 and the movie came out in 1980. The movie, directed by Stanley Kubrick, featured Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, and Danny Lloyd. Basically, the movie's about a recovering alcoholic schoolteacher and writer who takes on a winter job as the caretaker for the Overlook Hotel. He brings his family, his wife Wendy, and their psychically gifted child Danny. Unfortunately for them, the hotel itself is a sinister entity that encompasses Jack, turning him violent. The entire movie is filled with mystery, intrigue, and of course, horror. Being that their son Danny is gifted, he's able to see the foreboding future and glimpses of the horrific violence that has unfolded at the Overlook Hotel. One of those moments in time belonged to the Grady family. Charles Grady had been the previous caretaker who had succumbed to the dark presence and had butchered his wife and his twin daughters, whose ghostly presence is now forever trapped in the Overlook Hotel. And that is my miniatures friends, the scene in which today's diorama is being built. One afternoon, as Danny is riding his big wheel around the building, he finds himself staring at the two young twin girls. As they plead for him to
come and play with us, Danny,
he's filled with visions of their horrific death. But don't worry, I'm not going to show you that part. But to start this diorama, I'm using some foam board I bought at the 99-cent store. Okay, and so basically what I'm doing here is I'm just creating almost like a big cone, and I want the hallway to be long enough where we're actually getting Danny's perspective. That's kind of the goal here, is that I'm getting his perspective. And I did actually make the hall a little bit wider, actually, than I probably should have, but that's okay. I'm really happy with the size and everything so far. So just a warning, you're going to see a lot of white in the beginning of this episode, and then later on, of course, we'll be adding some wallpaper and some other fun stuff. So I have a whole bunch of my leftover foam remnants, and I want to build out what I believe is called the chases in the hallways. Chase, or the pilasters, which is like the part of the walls that kind of stick out between like where the doors would be. So I'm going to use foam for that. And then I'm also going to incorporate a couple of wooden doors here, and these already came with the frames. These are used, both of them are used, and I'm going to modify them a little bit. And then the other thing I'm going to add is that back window. And so those are going to be the main architectural pieces of the room, aside from the base trim and then a crown molding. But I'm not going to be working on that crown molding today. Actually, I think that this will probably be either a 2-part or a 3-part series. So the next thing I'm going to do is I just need to measure out where all of those chases will be, and also where the doors would be. And then I'm going to take my foam cutter and I'm going to go ahead and cut those down, and I'm going to go ahead and glue those in place. And you'll see that I keep putting the twins inside the box because they're helping me with scale, not just scale, but just distance. Because in the movie, the twins are standing right in front of a hallway that goes to the left. And so I just want to make sure, again, that those chases are in the right area and that the doors are also in the right area. One of the things in the scene is some like closet doors on the right-hand side. I don't think I'm going to include those in the diorama. All right, now I'm just measuring out where the doors are going to be because I want to go ahead and cut the spaces out for those doors. And then I went ahead and put the doors in. They're not glued in quite yet because I still need to make a couple little changes to them. But as soon as the doors went in, I really started feeling the vision of the space. I'm excited about that. Now the next step is adding the flooring. And so it was really hard to see in the picture and really in the movie as well, because you're so fixated on the twins and Danny in the scene. But it is actually hardwood flooring to the outer edges, and then like a navy blue or dark blue carpeting going down the center. So I'm just gonna measure out where I want the flooring because I only have one piece of this flooring, and so I really need to make sure that I cut it exactly perfect so that it will fit in the space and that I don't waste a lot of it. And this I found, this is actually just paper that someone, it looks like they probably sealed it with like maybe a Mod Podge to thicken it. And so that's the paper that I'm going to use. So I'm just going to do strips on the side and nothing down the center. And then that's going to actually give me the look that I want. And I'll glue that down in a little while. The next thing that I want to do is I want to add the wallpaper. Now, believe it or not, I already had this wallpaper. I bought this a long time ago. I actually just found it in an estate sale lot, and I only have 3 pieces of it. I think that's all I'm going to need, but I'm going to be very, very careful about not making any mistakes and how much I use. All right, and so I'm going to go ahead and install that wallpaper on both sides and, of course, the back. And I got pretty lucky. I had just a little bit of remnants to use and it covered up that back wall perfectly. The next step in the project is to add the trim, the doors, and the window. And in the photo, you can see that it has some embellishments up in the corner of the windows and of the doors. So I have these pieces here and I'm just going to go ahead and cut the windows and the door trim to go ahead and add those to make it a little bit more like the actual room. And also, it does look like there's a trim on the base of that window. So I'm just going to add this little stir stick to the bottom and go ahead and glue that on. Now, as far as painting goes, the color of the trim and the doors, it's very yellow, but it's like a cream yellow. It's not quite cream and it's not quite yellow. So what I did was I just took this antique gold color here and I mixed it with another color called English lace, and I was able to get the cream color that I want for these doors and trim, and so I'm going to go ahead and paint that color. While I set all of that aside to dry, I'm going to do a black base coat of the window because you can't see out. It does look like it's kind of dark also, and there's curtains covering it. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint the center of it black. And then I did glue the trim in, and then I added this window right here as well. And then once I did that, I added some curtains. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and pop my doors in. I'm not gluing them in quite yet. I still need to add some hardware, and so I'm just popping them in and make sure everything looks good, and then I'm going to go ahead and start adding my trim. And I haven't added the carpet yet because number 1, I need to run to the store and get it, and number 2, I was a little concerned about adding the carpet and maybe getting paint on it, so I'm kind of waiting to do that. But we'll go ahead and get the trim in, and then once the trim went up, I did do a little touch-up paint on it. Okay, now I want to go ahead and add the hardware, and I'm just going to use these little brass ball hardware. They look pretty similar to what I'm seeing in the photo. All right, the girls look good, everything looks good, and I'm going to go ahead and add the blue carpeting. I wanted navy blue carpeting. I felt like navy would have been a better choice. They didn't really have that color blue that I wanted, so this is a dark royal blue. I'm going to go ahead and put it in. I think the color works, but I'm going to sit with it for a little bit, and if I don't like it, I'm going to maybe paint over it with the dark navy color, which is fine. This is just felt, and you can definitely paint over it. If there's anything I've learned from watching Joanne Minis is that you can definitely paint felt. She does it all the time. So I may paint this, but for now I'm going to leave it this royal blue color. It looks super bright. It looks a lot brighter right now because also I've got the video light on it and I have an overhead light as well in the dining room. So to me, it looks really bright, especially here in the video, so we'll see. As you can tell, I'm having a little bit of reservation on the color, but it definitely goes with the wallpaper and everything, just like in the movie. Okay, and so this is where we're going to leave it for today, you guys. I still have so much to do. What else do we have? We've got a lot of the details. There's some photos on the wall. There's that I need to hang. We've got lighting that we need to do. We need to do the entire crown molding. Got a big wheels here that I want to modify and paint so that it looks like Danny's as well. And I have a whole bunch of really fun ideas for even the outside of this diorama. So definitely let me know what you think of it so far. Are you a fan of the movie? Let me know if you've seen it. Some of you may not have seen it, so let me know what you think. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and click that little button so that you are sure not to miss the next couple episodes, of course, as we finish the Shining diorama. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I hope you're having a great Halloween season. I hope I've inspired you to get back to your own Halloween projects. Have a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye!